a while before we take it in and before we embrace it. One of the things that I say about Coca-Cola, and I really believe that, is why Coca-Cola got to be so famous, because Coca-Cola advertised. Coca-Cola was everywhere. Coca-Cola did programs, give things free, and this is what it's going to take for this program. For Latino ministry to take some kind of shape, it's going to take for us to be present in different places. All of you, I don't know how many of you know Altagracia Perez. She is the other Latino in the diocese, but she's more involved with the congregations that are having other issues, vitality, and she's doing. But one of the things about Latino ministry is that we have to start exploring what do we have around and how we can do this ministry. So for the ones that have gone to the Latino, to the El Camino, tell me, because one thing that I feel like I need to do for this job is I have to learn what is it about you people. What do you see that we can do to get you excited about it? Because I am excited about it. I'm Latina. I love Latinos.
You're a tough sell, man.
So that's not the convincing part. So
I've got a great answer to that because Philomena knows this. We had in our congregation parish leaders that were very much like this about reorganizing our lives to welcome Spanish speakers. And then we had a woman come to our church with a teenage daughter who wanted to hang out with Anglos. Well, they're not all Anglos, but in a non-Hispanic congregational setting. And she wanted to do her quinceañera at our church. And our congregation kind of flipped out over this. I mean, it was just this joyful, exciting celebration of a young woman's maturing. And I have in mind a particular volunteer who will not be further identified because some of you probably know this person, but they went from this to, hallelujah. I mean, it's just a complete conversion because the barriers were broken down by Hannah and her mom and her stepdad and the friends that came and how wholesome and delightful it was. It was just miraculous. And we actually are planning to do some parish improvements to make possible more of those kinds of celebrations on the part of the Hispanic community.
So it was relational.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Experiential, yeah.
And you forgot to tell them about posadas that we did
The
together.
Posada at Christmas, that's
and
right.
we did it bilingual. Yes,
did you do it outside?
we do it outside all the time. We go to different houses and we went to
We did it inside
San
in
Paul.
twice.
Jamili, you don't seem to understand. These Hispanic people, they're tough. They can handle the weather. My congregation, no way. They're staying inside.
Yeah. It was a very great experience to see the enthusiasm, how they, the Anglo, want to sing, want to know everything about what we saying, what we pray. And this person, Susan, she translates everything. When we were praying, we do song and they song and we sing together too. What program? This is our first time doing this, but we plan to continue doing more things together.
And what's the service?
That's Posada.
Posadas is a celebration 9 days before Christmas.
Before Christmas.
Well, I have done the Las Posadas. When I was in Mississippi, I did Las Posadas during the weekend in between 16 and Christmas. Why? Because that's when people have time to go out. It's at night or Saturdays at night. But good point to talk about. Tyler has just done what I was hoping, and it is for you to hear an English-speaking priest speak about what we are missing. Because I know what you are missing, I really do. But when we have priests who are doing or who have been awakened, with the epiphany has happened, then it's easier to talk about it. So, what is my job? Literally, I don't have an agenda for my job. Mark, Dan, the bishop said, you will work with English congregations, and you will go and visit Clericus, and you will go and talk to people, and you will have your passion and your excitement about Latino ministries, and you will be the connection between how can they start doing it, what is it that it needs to be done, how can we help you? I will be your resource, I will be your cheerleader with your vestry, I will be all what you need me to be until we can get to that point. So, at the end of the day, I cannot do anything unless you invite, unless you want me to do something. Las Posadas, for instance. St. Paul's did it. Did you want Las Posadas in yours?
Sure.
Let's organize it, get it done.
I was in a situation once where that became an ecumenical event, where it was a way of not only having an ecumenical connection, but of connecting the Hispanic people within the different congregations as well. So it was the Roman Catholic Church, the Presbyterian Church, the Methodist Church, and the Episcopal Church. And we actually did the journey from one congregation to the other, and each year it rotated as to who was the host church, where it would end. You follow? So that's another dimension that could be there, an ecumenical dimension, especially in small communities.
Yeah.
What a gift. But go back to the same point. We have to come out of the churches. We have to show people this colorful, happy, diverse, and meaningful way to celebrate together. Because at the end of the day, it's teaching each other how to touch each other and do and pray together. And the only reason we are separated is because we haven't had that chance to play together and do fun things. That's the only reason, because if we are having fun, we all love beautiful things, and we can do it. So, go back to my agenda. It is to excite you. It is to see how you will feel that I can be a mediator, a way to get this help to you and to your community. But even if you don't think you have a lot of Latinos around you, you can still do it as a teaching tool, as a way to evangelize. The way I look at it, when we did it in Zion, there were not that many Latinos that were coming, but just people seeing us doing it. Ask the question. Open hearts. One event is not going to change our lives, but it will take little events, and it will take a priest in the congregation to be excited about it. I don't want to, I'm not in favor that the priest is the do-it-all, but I do believe that when the priest is not excited, when the priest don't have that passion and that desire to do it, it doesn't move that well, because it just takes too much energy. It takes too much energy. I am going to tell you, even as a Latino, I have to be taught. I have never done Guadalupe in my entire life. I was a Colombian. In Colombia, we have about 10 other virgins.
Oh.
And we don't have Guadalupe, and we don't have la Virgen de, ¿cómo se llama?
Juquila?
De Juquila, la Virgen de Suyapa. I mean, this is all
Different names.
different names for,
Diversity.
but at the same time, if you teach me, if you tell me, if it is that important to you, how difficult will it be for me to honor your tradition? You know, I mean, what as a priest, I'm giving an honor, a privilege, I'm giving this awesome opportunity as a priest to do a service to these pious people, for them, for God, for the glory of God. What will I break? How can I make God any less of what God is if I respect the piety of someone that is asking me to do a service? But it took a learning. It took for me to learn about Suyapa. It took for me to know about Guadalupe. So I will just say, please teach me. Let me see what I can do. Let me find the. So right now, even in San Andres, we are doing novenas for Suyapa. We are doing novenas for Guadalupe. We are. Las novenas bring between 80 and 100 people at night during the week.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a blessing and something for a lady who died about 3 years ago, and they wanted to do a remembrance. Then somebody else died that week. We got, at the end of the day, we have 3 people that we were praying for, and they asked me to come and do a blessing at the end. We have 120 people on Saturday night, from 6 o'clock to 10 to 9 o'clock in the church. Of course, I also have to confess that next day we only had 100, maybe 100. But it was fuller the night before. Anyway, well, that's my point. We have more people for the novenas that we did for the service. For Las Posadas, we do Las Posadas every single night. It's una novena. We have around 60 people every single night before Christmas.
60 adults and around 30
Oh,
kids.
yeah,
No
thank
more.
you, Filomena, because the night I
Yes.
do Sarnet, we had about 200 people with children. Point to make here is, I am a priest who comes out of this little box of theology to do people's lives and embrace what they bring to God. It may not be my culture. It may not be what I feel the most important thing is Sunday. Eucharist. Okay? For some reason, they only know this much. They probably don't even take communion because they are so guilty and they feel they are so Catholic. Excuse me, please. That they don't feel comfortable to take communion, and it takes a little learning and a lot of teaching before they can feel comfortable taking communion.
And the Latinos, they are a woman priest. Oh my God.
Oh, I dealt with that one 9 years ago. I had 3 men left in my congregation when I got there. They were not going to take a Latino woman, and they left and they got mad. Some took their wives, some I think. I'm not sure. But it's just it has taken for them to trust me, it has taken them for them to run into some personal issues and for me to be present. And now they see me as who I am. Just, they don't care. In fact, they, of course, next priest has to be a man. Not that we don't like women, it's just that a man will really be good for San Andres. You know what I mean? It's still the same story, but.
Well, like my church tells me it'd be nice to have a black man.
So everybody has their own way of relating to this. But the thing is, I know Tyler is in this to do Las Posadas, he's working with Filomena, and I just want to see what would you like for us to work in. We can do Spanish classes, we can do the Eucharist, but this is the other thing that I want to tell you. Any of you, if you know a little Latin, can read So it's not, that's not the issue. The issue is to get you to the point that you want to really, to baptize with water and blood, because it's not an easy ministry.
Can I mention a little bit about New Camino?
Oh, please.
I assume Anthony is participating and Al Rodriguez.
All five are coming.
Well-
Anthony, Al, Tom, Dixie,
Dixie Jones,
who is the fifth?
Alejandro.
Alejandro Montes, who is a very young, well, not that young anymore.
The team that they put together for the New Camino is really a vital bunch of clergy and lay people. And Anthony Guillen is the Hispanic missioner for the National Church. So he's all over the country all the time. And he's the one who really puts it in front of you as to how much of your Latino community is immigrant, how much of it's first generation, second generation, spells out how we can, in the non-Hispanic congregations, be welcoming to more than the immigrant and the first generation, so welcoming to the English-speaking Hispanic, who can then be hosting the newcomers who speak no English once that's established. And it's a very, very plain model of opening the doors with certain features of Hispanic worship, especially music, that make them feel at home. Al Rodriguez, when I did New Camino at Christchurch late last year, he was not able to be present. He was there by teleconference. But he has a biblical rendition of the immigrant that is phenomenal, from Old Testament to today, that is one of the best sermons I've ever heard. And it's all about being welcoming to the immigrant. Al is in the seminary of the Southwest in Austin, and is, along with Anthony, really the other leader, and then there are other clergy involved, including this very boisterous, red-headed Anglo named Dixie Junk from Kansas City, Kansas, right? Not Kansas City, Missouri, but Kansas City, Kansas. Anyway, she's from a town way the hell out there, who knows? And she decided, she said, we're gonna try this. She's learning Spanish, but you know, it is just really evident in her that you don't need to know Spanish, and you need to open the doors and let people in because they want in. And we've got something that community is eager to enjoy, which is hospitality, which is in short supply for immigrants and recent arrivals. This team just does a great job of presenting. And the one additional comment I would make, just as counsel to you, I went thinking I needed ammunition to bring my wardens and vestry leaders along, get them home. I was wrong. I should have brought them to that. It is really exciting.
They can still do.
No, and that's what I would say. If you can go to this April event, do and take a couple of parishioners, because they'll get it. It's you couldn't miss it. It's like getting hit by a bus.
Could you talk a little more concretely about how, you know, I can envision stuff like in Wappingers, where you're in the middle of a huge Hispanic Latino community. And Fishkill is a very different animal in terms of its population. My suspicion is that most Latino Hispanic here are probably second generation, if not third.
Well, that is one of the greatest points, and you went to the last conference. And this is the idea, that most of the Latinos that we know are second generation, third generation Latinos, and that they speak English. And that's the other thing that this new conference has a little twist, and it's no longer the outreach ministry that we used to think of Latino. The hot meals, of course, there's always room for that, and we always need to have it. But now the idea is that the same way that when we did the book, Welcoming the Latinos, did you remember 2000, it came out about 10 years ago. National Church provided the book, and it was how to welcome the Latino. And one of the things that, when we did that book, I was part of the team that organized that book. One of the things was that we need to be like the business. American Express, Visa, all the banks, every business that are thinking in a way, in a global way, seeing the future, are invested in the Latinos, because that's who is going to buy the new cars. They are going to be the ones that are going to be in the new neighborhoods. They are the ones that are going to be asking for the loan. This is the second and third generation. So the demographics are changing. So now when we talk about Latino ministry, we are not talking about that. Beginning, like San Andres. San Andres is a starter church. You know, San Andres comes with its own demographics. But I also tell you that when one of the things that happened to me in San Andres is the reality that the people, and I'm sorry, Mother Filomena, but I'm going to use you as an example also, that the second and third generation are not coming back to San Andres. They're going to St. John's. Your family is going to St. John's. And all the people that I'm working with in St. Paul's is the second and third generation. Let's be honest about that. Let's call it like it is. They don't want to go back to the poor old little church.
Not everybody, but because some of our children who already are second or third generation, they love to do a lot of things in Spanish. But they like they like to be part of the very structured church. And our Latinos are some kind of difficult because we don't have still our own buildings. And starting from that, they think that we are like nothing secure because the pen is the owners of the building would like to give us opportunity to have a specific activity or no, because they already has a schedule another activity. And we use the building when they have opportunity, when it's space.
Well,
And that's
how is that
one
called? Empowerment. They are so empowered now as a second and third generation that they are not going anywhere to do that. I speak English. I'm a professional. I have gone to college. I'm bringing my children to the church, and that's it. You know, the empowerment of the second and third generation is clear. They are not looking for anything different. So San Andres continues to be a church for first generation, and even second generation until they go to college. Literally, I lose all my children as soon as they go to college. So, well, almost everyone. It's the name of the game. But also, the families that we are having in St. Paul's are second generation. Grew up in San Andres, were baptized in San Andres, did all the sacramental rites in San Andres, and now they love San Andres, but they don't want to go back. And St. Paul's provides, because I was able to, St. Paul's closed in 2005. These people didn't have a place to go, and they didn't want to go anywhere, and they were trying to find a church, and having the opportunity to have St. Paul's there. I asked the bishop if we could use it, and she gave me the opportunity. So we've been having that little church, but we have the same problems that we all have with the younger adults. They're not too committed to help. They don't want to serve in the vestry. So why we haven't been able to, first of all, because I cannot do it to churches.
And your diocese job.
It's just too hard. But I was maintaining, I was doing the services for them, I was doing preparations for communion. The thing is, I do a lot of the Latino things that they need and culturally would like to have. And that's what is important. I cannot pass for a Catholic priest because I'm a woman. But by my colleagues. They treat the church, the Episcopal Church as if it's a Catholic church, so they do. I don't. I try to change names. Like, for instance, I don't do First Communion because it's no First Communion. We do a special communions to honor, to teach, to learn, to be ready, to embody the Eucharistic prayer and form, and clearly it's not our first. But you can dress with your white dress, and you can look as pretty as you want to, and you can have all the bells and trims that you want, because it's cultural. For them, that's an important thing. And so I don't have a problem with that. I do it. So I did it the same way for both churches and it worked. But now I don't have a church because I don't have enough time to dedicate to St. Paul. So they just moved. 4 of the families have moved to Irvington, to Dobbs Ferry, because of the public schools. So they are not going to be back at St. Paul's. Easter will be my last service at St. Paul's. So what I was trying to say about El Camino is it's a different conference. The only reason we talk about El Camino is because it's Spanish, because it's a Latino agenda. But it is a conference that will teach you that you can do ministry to whoever is in your neighborhood. It's a conference that will open your heart and mind to the Chinese, it doesn't matter who is in your neighborhood. If you follow the procedure and if you start examining your own context, your outside context, if you start studying who you are and doing the demographics and then start creating a plan and creating a vision and all what we are planning, it doesn't matter who you work with. Literally, because I don't want to think that we are I don't want to be such a closed-minded priest that I would say this conference is only to do Hispanic ministry. No, you can utilize the tools of this conference to do the ministry that your church, your community is called to do, because it's available, it's there. It's only a cheerleading opportunity, something to renew or fail to get us to the point that we need to be to do ministry. And if Latinos are in your community, by all means, Latinos. But the ministry is too big. There's too many neighbors. And we don't know what God is calling us to do. But unless we explore it, unless we study our context, the outside context, our own limitations, we wouldn't know where to begin. And that's the idea. This is the beginning of it. You come to the conference, you check it out, and then we create a plan. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I mean, the first month will be to study your own context. Second, acknowledge who you are and what you have to offer and what you don't have. And then do your study of your external context. I can provide to you all kind of demographic information so that you will know what to do. And you can still do it. It's just a website in the Episcopal Church website, you know, where you can see how. But when you see a place that says you have 60% Latinos, something is speaking too loud to say you have more Latinos than you have anything else. Maybe this is where God is calling you to put some energy. And that's what I mean. But if it says 80% or 60% or your growing population is Chinese, maybe that's the way that you need to go. I mean, literally, it's how God is calling us to do it. And for me, it's Latino, but not everybody's going Latin European. Maybe not, that's not.
I guess that's my question though, is when you have under 8% Latino or Hispanic within a geographical area, which is true of us here, what should Trinity be doing? You know, what should Trinity be doing? In terms of, see, I guess my question is, when the percentage is so small, you know, who who is there within the congregation that can authentically, create, whether it's music or, posadas or whatever. It seems to me you need to have some kernels there to be able to grow something.
Well, one thing that I always feel very strongly is,
And I have, there are Latino members of the congregation that are second generation, if not third. But,
but you went to the conference.
Mhm.
Did you get any idea, or did you have any sense of what it will be, or would you like to explore the same way that Tom Keller is inviting us to do this exploration? Study the congregation, see what you have, create a group, see what you have, see what are your inside context, get to know who you are as a church, and then see you outside. One of the things that I feel like it would be good for us is to share ministry with other churches. So for instance, there will be other churches that will benefit from having some people that will go and do English classes. Irvington, about 5 years ago, Irvington started, 2 volunteers started English as a second language. It was fantastic. They didn't speak any Spanish, but they did the English as a second language, and they would come and they would provide some paperwork and things, and that was a ministry. I have about 40 this year, 40 volunteers, all students from Sarah Lawrence. None of them, maybe one or two speak Spanish a little bit, have taken classes. Of course, they come and say, "Can I help?" And I do, okay, what would you like to do? But they are teaching every single day. We have 3 and 4 volunteers to come and do ESL. They are doing the ESL with the children. They are reading books. Pronunciation. Here I am. I make the biggest confession. I hate to sound so strong foreigner. I would like to speak with easy English and smooth pronunciation. And when I go to preach at a church, I can see the little old people go, "Are we going to understand her?" And I go, relax. What God wants you to understand and what God wants you to know, you will get it. So relax, let it go. Because, and yet, these students come and I started with 3 or 4. Now we are about 40 volunteers from Sarah Lawrence. None of them speak Spanish. But they are teaching, they are having programs on Saturdays, they are having tutoring, they are having art, science projects. I try, and I think this is what El Camino, I hope that's what we are trying to express, is that ministry can be done in different ways if we are willing to take what God gave us and then disseminate the seeds for growth. I don't know that would be the case, but there are plenty of things that you can do for Latino ministry. Embracing it. One thing, Christchurch has had Latino ministry for how many years? 20?
Almost 30.
Okay, I'm going to say something, and there is not a sign anywhere. For me, to see a church with absolutely no one sign that says welcome is appalling.
And
that, of course.
I would like to say I have been in Christchurch for the last 3 years. And finally, we're going to have signs.
Yeah.
In the front and in the back.
Good.
Because they always refuse to put the signs. Always. But Cooper Conway is the interim person, and she has been working with them. And they they themselves, especially the bishop, they accept that they have been treating the Latinos in that way. And that is a good start. And I applaud Conway.
But this is the
that
thing
record.
about, when I say about Chris, she has taken it up to herself to teach, marble this new figure, this new ministry, piece by piece. And that's what it takes. It's going to take a lot of effort from all of us. And it's going to take teamwork. But it also is going to take science. You may not have a lot of it, but it will be nice to have bilingual science. This is the beginning. How can we let someone know that we are an open church? Bilingual science is the first sign. And they are everywhere.
I
Of course,
pass
they
the
cost
Catholic
more.
Church twice a day going to and from my church, and they've got Misa on one side and Mass on the other, and 2 columns.
But it seems so simple and so, I mean, it doesn't take a brain to think about
Well, that's
passing
good.
by and see, oh, welcome.
Bienvenido.
Bienvenido. As a Latino, I can read it well. That sounds good.
When I was in the Bronx at Atonement, there were a lot of Anglicans in the community who were from the Caribbean, but they didn't know that the Episcopal Church was a part of the Anglican communion. So there were many people who would pass by, not having any idea, and it wasn't until we put up Anglican also, Episcopal Anglican, that okay. And
Say
so
umbrella.
They're talking to me.
it's a similar kind of thing,
But that's the thing about anything. Of course, this is just my little thing, but the cathedral had to have some Spanish signs, had to have something that says, we are part of this big church where we have people with all different language, maybe 2 or 3 languages, maybe, you know what I mean? Because that's exactly what we read. It's not how we verbally try to be nice to the Latinos. It's how our body moves and our body speaks, our beings speak. And for me, it doesn't matter how many times somebody say, oh, we love Latinos, but they never want to come to Oscar Romero's celebration of Las Posadas or come to see San Andres. I always tell people, come to San Andres. And I literally believe that you won't walk out the same way. But it's for such a different place. But there is one thing. I always also say I have the ugliest church in the life.
No.
But it's
Are
the
they
only
living-
Latino that have their own building.
But that's exactly.
La Mesa
But
has their own one.
It's not from La Mesa, it's a building from the previous church, and it's borrowed to La Mesa.
The
Annie,
only congregation in the building.
Okay, it's the only congregation,
Well,
so
up
anyway.
to now, San Andres has been the only one that has their own place. And the only thing that makes a difference is that we really can party and do what we want to do without bothering anybody. So it really, it's a gift. But it doesn't matter. I don't want a pretty church if I'm going to be limited to do what they need to do. So this is perfect. The front is a garage.
What?
It's
It's a
a,
garage.
it's a garage.
It's a garage.
Park
Oh,
garage.
it was a garage.
Well, it's still a garage because the front is all full of cars. You have to walk from the side. Please come and see us.
do we
But
have,
it is a holy and beautiful garage. Thank you.
I've heard that. Thank you for being with us. This is, I think, a great introduction and a real rich invitation from Janelle to participate in the New Camino, or for that matter, to rope her into your respective congregations' adventures in multicultural worship. I mean, it really is a tremendous opportunity.
What's the website again? The New Camino?
You can just go to the website and it's right there.
Oh, it's our bio.
Yeah, it's a diocese. And for those of you who would like to for us to do something with you that you would like to, for us to come back. How many of you are interested to do these Spanish classes, by the way?
Spanish classes, ESL or learn Spanish?
To learn Spanish.
No.
Okay. What will be, what are your hopes? Conversation. We don't want to do it into grammar and it will be conversation. You have Google to translate for you. Conversation. How would you like to do this? Would you want to have concentrated 1 week classes that we do intensive Spanish? Would you like to do 5 nights? Would you like to do a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? You kind of need a little push at the beginning. That's the way I look at it.
What I was going to suggest was coming out of the Camino was that if there be in the regions an immersion course, maybe in the summer for a time when we could take a week, and if that's what, because I don't know.
Doesn't New Paltz have an immersion?
I don't know anything about
I
it.
don't know.
Who is
They
that?
used to, I
They
don't know
used
if
to,
they
but
do
I'm
now.
not sure if they still do.
Right. And that's exactly the point, is that I don't know.
New Paltz
So,
used to do an immersion.
Yeah, they did.
but if I'm active in the region, I have no idea, how would I know to look at New Paltz? So I think the diocese offered a publicity about, an immersion course for being able to say mass
There was.
in
I think
Spanish
Richard went there.
and rudimentary preaching. That would be great to start, because I actually like,
A touch of pastoral care.
yes, but I can bring my second and third generation parishioners with me for pastoral care. They can't celebrate the mass, so that, I'd like to be able to do that. So an immersion course would be great.
Okay, that would be wonderful. We can plan it. This is the thing. When I was in Mississippi, I did 5, 6 immersions, full total immersion classes. I did it in the camp. We had around 45 people come and register from everywhere. And that full immersion was totally full immersion. I mean, it was concentrated, only Spanish communication. For those who were going a little bananas, we had a table for lunch, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, bilingual, and then English, and then totally Spanish. And it was directed to make a difference in your life, to make a really wrinkle in your brain.
How long did it last for?
It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, finished at 7 o'clock
I
p.m.
think you could do it Monday through Friday in the summer, and, as long as it wasn't more than a 45-minute or hour drive.
But this is the thing that it takes. Of course, in Mississippi, you don't have the distance, just to go to camp. You have to fly to Jackson and then get to the camp 45 minutes from Jackson. So the people that went ready to just get something out of it, and they stayed overnight. We have music, we party, we have fun, we talk, but it was all in Spanish. It was almost as if you have gone to Guatemala for the weekend. And so, like I said, the people that were going a little, this is too much Spanish for me, they could take a break and go to another table for lunch or for breakfast and speak whatever language they were comfortable with, English.
We still have time for questions. When I was in seminary, there was a movement with the Hispanic seminary. There was the 2 seminaries there for a while. I don't think it's still
La
going.
Programa.
Yes. We actually had speakers come into our class and tell us they don't want Anglos coming to them because they want to have their own Spanish ministry rise up out of the community. And they told us to stop taking Spanish and don't think about doing a Spanish-speaking mass if you're not Hispanic. And was that just a movement that went through the church and now we're going back again?
Well, we are working with different demographics right now, one. Second, our job right now, at least my job, and I hope it's all of our jobs, is to evangelize. It doesn't matter what language you know what I mean, be present for the people, be the place we are going to be. And so, I don't know if it was a movement, but I'm going to say, it offends me a little bit to think that we can refuse anybody because, yeah, we would like for people to have their own culture and be respected. And this is, and this is the thing about culture. How many of you will support Adelante? It's a movie, it's a film about immigration of two churches. It's Catholic, it's not Episcopal. But it's a film that
I can
Philomena,
explain a little more about
Yeah.
the film. This happened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, exactly. I don't remember the city. But this filmmaker did a lot of research about the church that was dying, the Roman Catholic Church. And one of the priests that came to that church started opening the doors to the Latinos. And now they have like 500 people over there. Latinos and Anglos. Now the Anglos are claiming to the priest that it's more exciting when he's celebrating Spanish. Yes, and they are for Ireland and Mexicans. And now they celebrate with the, what is the instrument that Ireland's use? Gaitas in español, no. Well,
The mandolin?
probably.
probably, I don't know. They use that music, the Ireland music, and the mariachis. And they have big celebrations together.
Irish mariachi.
Irish and mariachis.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. If you are interested, we can do something like that. Because all what it's going to take is for us to simmer into what we're doing. Start. I don't expect miracles overnight. I don't expect big commitments overnight. I just hope that we will simmer these ideas and do other things like watching a movie. I can certainly do, and I was planning to do a CD or a DVD, what do you call it, to do the Latino, the whole Eucharistic prayer, because all of you are singers. You can hear and you can pronounce and you can record it. You have phones, telephones, because this, I mean, of course I didn't do this last night, but when I preach for a big congregation or I'm having a big presentation, I usually, the night before, I kind of listen to myself to see all the pitfalls, you know, like where I just lose the people, you know what I mean, when I didn't sound right, with the pronunciation, because it's too hard for me. So I had to do other things. But if you do have something that you can listen in your car to start creating that language, and then practice, you will see the difference between your pronunciation and most of you read Latin. That's the other thing that is so easy, that makes you connect you. Well, I mean, but it's so all my invitation is, if we want to do the Adelante, that will be something that we can do in the summer. It won't be but 2 or 3 hours, 2 hours, because we come see the movie, the presentation, get the example of this man, because if I get excited, I'm hearing from Val and Philomena and all of them about how wonderful this guy is and what he did, and also he has pieces, the cultural pieces that sometimes we are missing. So this will be another way to do it. We can get the guy here in this area. We can use a Friday. We can use a Sunday afternoon. We can invite your own congregation. But we need to simmer this conversation and keep moving it to other levels until we get fully ready to do this, you know.
I'd like to hear more from others who have tried different things. Are there other?
Well, right now, since we do have a church in the village, which is a large proportion of Hispanics, we're doing a couple of things. We're hosting the Mexican consulate on wheels.
I got it.
They come 3 times a year at the moment. It was gonna be twice, but their venue was closed at Poughkeepsie, and we are used to having them now, so.
What is the Mexican consulate on wheels?
It is the Mexican consulate, like you'd go to in New York City, that brings the whole kit and caboodle up to our parish hall, and they can get passports, they can get all of the identification they need, they can get information about medical needs, you name it. All Hispanic, they're all Mexican, I believe. But they were a joy to have, and then they fed all of us enchiladas. Some of the people in our church didn't know what an enchilada was. So that's the gap. That is the gap side.
And this is the other thing, when you bring the consulate, the other thing that happens is that the Mexican restaurants provide all the food. That's a double duper. You invite, I mean, really, you invite the consulate to come to your place. Then you connect with all the Mexican restaurants and the Latinos around. Then you have all the people coming to your church and see the sign that says bienvenido.
We don't have it yet. That's what we
No,
need
no,
to do
just,
next.
maybe, we just work one step at a time, that's all what I'm saying. And
Okay.
how many, just look at the potential of, because it's a lot of people. I open San Andres, we are Latinos, it's just, but we have a place for them to come, so we do it, and now I started doing it in St. Paul. But the thing about it is that they start seeing the Episcopal Church like the Coca-Cola sign I'm talking to you about. Oh, Episcopal Church, oh, the sign. I mean, it takes different ways to look at it. Oh, welcome, bienvenido. You see what I mean? And it's a really, congratulations for doing that.
And we are doing something else.
Okay.
There's a community organizer, Hispanic community organizer, who's come to me and asked, what can we do for the Hispanic community? And I said, welcome. Her name's
Come on.
Gabriela Owen, and she's got a council of students who are taking over the responsibility in the village to get the Hispanic community involved. And they came and spoke to the vestry. And normally I set these things up, but I forgot they were coming, and it turned out to be wonderful. The vestry was like, who are these people? But this young group, so articulate and so wonderful to listen to. And now they're having regular meetings in our meeting rooms. So we're taking little baby steps.
But that's what it's going to take. The other thing that works
We need to hear
is
from others
AA.
around the table. We need to
How
get
about,
around the
you
table.
guys have anything vegan going on?
It's gonna be enough to put
Be
a
a
black
little
and
bit.
white
It'll be
congregation
wild.
together.
Well, that's true.
No, I mean,
We
we
have
both,
multicultural issues,
we
yeah.
both worked with the Hispanic ministry
Yeah.
in Salt Lake City, and then I was working in El Camino Real. And my experience has been, there's no model. That what I'm hearing is what I've experienced. You do what works. You look at the demographics, you look at the needs, you look at the people in the community, and really if you're welcoming to a particular group of people who are Hispanic or Mexican in origin or whatever it is, it's really a part of the fact that you're trying to be welcoming to everyone, and you're trying to get the word out to everyone. But you might need to think about signage if you've got a predominance of people who speak a certain language, and think about a couple of other things that are helpful. But we started a Spanish language service in our congregation in Salt Lake City because it was located near a large population of people who were predominantly Spanish speaking. But I didn't do it. We had the Hispanic missioner for our diocese who came from his congregation and did a Saturday evening service there because the location was good for people to come there. And then would be doing his other services on Sunday morning in a couple of other places that he was doing it. And that worked for a while, and then some other things worked better, so it was really,
So all the internal signs were bilingual in
Yeah.
the church.
Yeah.
He taught liturgical Spanish,
yeah.
and it's actually, I think, still up on the Diocese of Utah's webpage if you want to do he has his pronunciation, he's Mexican, so it's all his pronunciations as he laughingly would work with somebody
who spoke a different form of Spanish, and they laughed together because they pronounced differently, and so, but his is up on the website, because he taught liturgical Spanish to all of us, which was great.
Yeah, we had a group of clergy. We organized about 10 clergy, and so we met for about 6 or 8 months, once a week or once every 2 weeks, and it was all church Spanish. So we understood all the words of the liturgy. We were understanding all the words of the accoutrements and the building and the things, and so at least we had a vocabulary to talk about at our building.
They couldn't preach, but at least we could do the other. And he said that was the first start that you needed to do until you could get to the point where you could do preaching. And as he said, there's other things you can do that would work if you had anyone that could speak both languages, then you could preach by doing the translator. But it was more important not to do the liturgy and translation.
Right.
For him, so that's what we wanted. And I had a congregation in California, and the bilingual there was Chinese. So everything, the other stuff was in Chinese there. Just depends on what your area is. Chinese, of course, San Francisco area.
In what?
Let's thank Jamelia for being with us.
And now I need to invite you to your church and talk to your priest.
I need to know,